Esselamu aleyküm ve rahmetullahi ve berekatühü. Euzubillahimineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life, friends of my heart,
Allah'a sonsuz hamd ve şükrederiz.
I thank and praise Allah Ta'ala countless times that one more time we are all together at another discourse to talk about Allah.
Sizlerle birlikte olmak
To be along with you
çok büyük bir zevk.
is a great joy for me, my dear brothers and sisters. In great peace and comfort,
Verdiği mutluluk içerisinde
I have that joy being with you,
konuşuyoruz.
and I offer this discourse thanking and praising Allah.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
aramızda hep bizi birleştiren bir sevgi var.
there is a love that connects us all the time.
Allah'tan dolaşarak bizden size ulaşıyor.
And this love is coming to you from me, coming through Allah.
Sizden
And it is coming from you to me, coming through Allah again, as a reflection.
sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
dünyada
my dear brothers and sisters, we are in such a unity in this world that is dominated by love.
en çok buna hamd ediyoruz. Çünkü
And I thank and praise Allah most for that reason.
dünya bir kaosun içerisinde.
The world is within a chaos.
İnsanlar manevi terbiyeyi,
People have forgotten spiritual taming,
Allah'a ulaşmayı dilemeyi,
as they have forgotten wishing to reach Allah, taking a pledge of allegiance to a murshid, religious guide,
ulaşmasını,
spirits returning back to Allah,
olmasını,
submission of physical body to Allah,
Allah'a ulaşması,
and
Allah'a teslim.
spirits returning back to Allah is submission of spirit to Allah. After that comes submission of physical body to Allah.
Nefsin Allah'a
Then submission of soul to Allah,
ulaşmak,
then becoming a muhlis one, a pure one,
iradenin Allah'a
then submission of free will to Allah.
gelen
They have forgotten all these, and these are different levels of happiness as they are all forgotten. As I praise Allah, Allah had me go through each and every one of these stages.
bu devrin
Gave me the knowledge of this era.
bizde Allah bize ne öğrettiyse
And whatever Allah taught me,
anlatıyoruz.
I'm explaining that directly to you.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
Allah ile ilişkiler
relations with Allah.
bir insanın mutluluğunun temelini teşkil eder.
That is the basis of the happiness of an individual.
Mutluluk huzur içinde yaşamaktır.
Happiness is to live in peace.
Başlıca göstergesi
The greatest indicator of that is
sevginin
love.
mevcut olmadığı bir ortamda
In a place where there is no love, there
yaşamak,
cannot be happiness nor joy.
mutluluk sevgisiz bir ortamda yeşermeyen bir ağaçtır.
Happiness cannot blossom in a place where there is no love.
Çiçeklerini açmayan bir çiçektir.
You cannot see flowers of such a tree if there is no love.
Öyleyse Allah Teala'nın dizaynı içerisinde
And that is exactly the design of Allah.
insanları sevmek mecbur.
And within such a design, we have to love all people if we are willing to be happy.
Sevgi ve nefret birbirinin zıttı olan
Love and hatred are two different concepts that are opposite to each other.
eğer birisinden nefret ediyorsanız,
If you are hating someone,
sevmenin tam aksini yapıyorsunuz demek.
that means you're doing totally opposite of loving.
Böyle bir şeyin
And such a thing should not take place amongst our brothers and sisters.
Ve de bu hepiniz için bir hedef olmalıdır.
And that should be the point for each and every one of you. You should love each and every one of you so much, my dear brothers and sisters.
O beni sevsin de ben de onu seveyim.
Well, he should love me for me to love him back.
Böyle bir düşünce Allah Teala'nın bize öğrettiği ilme tamamen ters düşer.
Such a thinking is totally opposite to the knowledge Allah taught us. That is a trap of Satan. He would say, he doesn't love you, why should you love him?
Marifet bizi sevmeyenleri sevmek.
But the important thing is to love those who do not love us and to make sure that they know that we love them, that they feel that we love them.
Bizi sevmese bile bizden gelen sevgi,
Then even though that individual doesn't love us, the love comes from us will embrace that individual gradually and make him get closer to us.
diyelim ki onun bize negatif davranışları var.
Let's say he does negative things to us. That is perfectly fine.
Davranışlara rağmen biz onu sevmeye,
Even though there are negative behaviors, we need to continue loving that individual.
bütün insanları birbirine düşman olması için teşvik eder.
Satan will promote everyone to be enemies with each other.
Buradaki şeytanların bütün gayreti
All their efforts of all Satan's, are to make you enemies with everybody else around you. That's what he tries to manage.
düşman olmanızı sağlamaya çalışır.
He works on your enmity to everybody around you. My dear brothers and sisters,
Başkalarına dost olmak için çalışmalısınız.
you need to work in order to be friends with everyone, because Allah wants you to be friends with everyone. On one hand is Satan.
Sizden
What is it that he wants?
birbirinize karşı düşman olmanızı.
Your enmity towards each other. On the other hand is Allah. What is it that Allah wants?
Dost olmanızı.
To be friends with everyone.
Birbirinizi sevmenizi.
Wants you to love each other. But what Satan wants is to hate each other
düşman olması,
and to be enemies with each other,
birbirine zarar vermesi,
to harm each other, to make each other feel really bad. What is it that Allah wants?
dost olması
People to be friends with each other, to love each other,
ve bütün insanların başkalarının mutluluğu
and all people to live for everybody else's happiness.
hep iftar ederek
That should be a purpose for every individual,
olmaları.
and being happy, making others happy. My dear brothers and sisters, try it.
Ne zaman başka insanları mutlu edecek bir davranışın içine girerseniz
Whenever your behavior is to make everybody else happy,
çok mutlu hissedersiniz.
at that very moment you will be feeling that joy and happiness. That is the rule of Allah.
Başka bir insana A kadar mutluluk verirse
If somebody can give a level of happiness to another individual himself will be a amount of happy.
kardeşlerim mutlu olmak için
My dear brothers and sisters, you have a great opportunity to be happy yourself. There are so many people around you.
her an her birine güzel bir şeyler söyleseniz,
Every second, if you tell something nice to them,
ifade
if you do something to make them happy, what would you lose?
ama etrafınızdaki insanların gönlünü alırsınız.
You earn their hearts if you do that. And as long as you do that,
Onda sevdiğinizi
you make sure that you truly love them.
da görürsünüz.
And you see that you do love them. You just try to love, and you will realize that you will.
Çünkü
Why? Because as you try to love, you are in a positive wavelength.
Bu dalga boyunu bekler.
That's the wavelength for Allah.
Başkalarına dost olmaya çalışırsa,
Whenever somebody is trying to be friends with other people, tries to love other people,
bir yardım alır.
and gets great help from Allah.
Ne zaman bir insan başkalarından nefret ederse,
But whenever the individual hates other people,
çok büyük bir yardım alır.
then gets a great help
Şeytan
from Satan.
insanların arasını açmak için en büyük düşmanınızdır.
Satan is your greatest enemy
İnsanların arasını
to put enmity amongst every individual, and that is the one who does that.
etrafınızda her zaman
He takes charge, as there are many Satans around every individual.
daha düşman,
They will take charge and they try to make your enmity to be stronger.
bir tarafta
My dear brothers and sisters, on one hand is Allah, on the other hand is Satan.
Allah Teala'nın dostluk konusundaki emirlerini yerine getirmek yerine
Why, instead of fulfilling commands of Allah to be friends with each other
mutlaka huzursuzluğa sebebiyet verecek olan
and listening to the commands of Satan to be enemies to each other and to be unhappy as a result of that?
bunu kabul etmemelisiniz.
You shouldn't choose
O
that.
zaman başka birine zarar vermek istikametinde içinizde bir his oluşmuşsa
Whenever you have a feeling to harm somebody else,
bu
you should clearly know that that is coming from Satan, my dear brothers and sisters.
insanların birbirine dost olması
Satan clearly doesn't want people to be friends with each other, to be good to each other.
onu dehşetli rahatsız eder.
If that is the case, he will be bothered so much.
Nasıl Allah Teala sizin başkalarını sevmenizden,
As Allah enjoys you to love other people,
başkalarına güzel davranmanızdan,
for you to behave nicely to other people, to be friends with each other,
zevk duyarsa, bunu isterse sizden,
as that is the willing of Allah, that is the purpose of Allah for you.
şeytanın da hedefi
The purpose for Satan is to make your enemies to other and to promote enmity
üzerindeki negatif tesirinizin
and to increase your negative influence other people and for that negative influence to make others unhappy, and because of your unrighteous behavior for them to be upset with you
davranış biçimi.
and for them to be negative towards you.
Şeytan bütün gücüyle bunu yapmaya çalışır.
That's what Satan promotes with all his power. Satan is an enemy to everyone.
Bana göre bütün insanlar
In other words,
bir düşman.
for Satan, everybody, every individual is an enemy that they need to be made unhappy.
İblis insanlara
Since before time, Satan is an enemy to everyone, and that will be the case till the doomsday.
biliyorsunuz ki iblis cin tayfesindendir. Bir
As you know, Satan is also from the family of jinn, but amongst the jinn there are good ones,
Allah'ın
as they are the submitted ones. They are the jinn saints of Allah.
burada ölçü onların zikirleridir.
The measure at that is their level of zikr,
Amellerin temizlenme oranıdır.
the rate of vices in their souls to be purified. As we have a soul, jinn have soul as well.
Ruhumuz varsa cinlerin
But
de
as
ruhu
we
yok.
have a spirit, jinn do not have a spirit.
Biliyoruz.
On that,
Allah
we are
Teala
different.
insanlara kainatın en büyük şerefini bahşetmiş.
As Allah gave the greatest honor of this universe to us, blowing into us from His Spirit. Yet, jinn do not have that honor. They do not have a spirit, my dear brothers and sisters.
Cinlerde nefs var.
Jinn only have soul,
Birisi o nefslerini
and they need to cleanse and purify their soul as well
temizlemek,
through doing zikr of Allah.
yücelmek.
As it cleanses and purifies, they get exalted.
Söz konusu Allah'ın
It is the same thing for us
ama bizde
to do zikr of Allah.
var.
But we have a soul and spirit.
Temizledikçe
We have the vices of the soul.
yok olması var.
As we cleanse them, we eliminate vices of the soul.
Nefsimizin kalbine yerleşmesi var.
And as we do zikr, we replace those vices with virtues.
Kalbindeki güzellikleri ifade eder.
as the virtues are referring to beautiful notions taking place in our soul's heart.
Mutlulukla nefsimizin kalbindeki faziletlerin
There is a great relationship between
aynısı
happiness and the rate of virtues in our soul's heart.
kalbinde yüzde ne kadar fazıl nuru,
Whatever the percentage of the virtues in our soul's heart
biz o kadar mutluyuz.
is the happiness
O kadar mutluyuz.
that we have.
Bu yüzde
That is the percentage of happiness we have.
98'e
After
kadar
2% mercy, it accumulates all the way to 98% of virtues.
%2 rahmet nuru, %90
Owners of continuous zikr have 2% mercy and 98% virtues, and they have 100% glories in their soul's heart.
netice mutluluktur.
And the result is happiness and joy, my dear brothers and sisters.
Allah Teala hep mutlu olmanızı ister.
Allah Ta'ala wants you to be happy all the time.
Siz de hep mutsuz olmanızı ister.
Satan and his associates wants you to be unhappy all the time.
İnsanların Allah katındaki farklılıkları buna paraleldir.
The difference of human beings in the presence of Allah is based on that.
O mutsuz bir insan.
Whoever is living to make others unhappy,
Çok karanlıktır.
that is an unhappy individual. The soul's heart of that individual is pitch dark, full of vices, and lives to harm other people.
Kim de Allah'ın dostuysa,
Yet whoever is a friend of Allah,
hatta kendisine kötülük edenlere de
that individual is good to everyone, even to those who are harming himself.
başkalarına iyilik etmekle mutluluğa ulaşacağını çok iyi bilmek.
He very well knows he can have happiness and joy through helping and being good to other people.
En geleni yapmaktadır.
And the other one is doing exactly what his soul is commanding due to vices,
Başkalarını küçültmek,
mistreating other people, belittling and mocking other people,
onları karalamak,
putting them down
onlara düşman olmak
and being enemies to them. That's what they think they need to do.
Sevgili kardeşlerim, düşmanlık
My dear brothers and sisters,
insanlara verdiği
as Satan will promote the feeling of enmity in people's souls
vücuda gelen
and
bir negatif
have them do negative things.
şeye karşı sakın kin tutmayın sevgili kardeşlerim.
Never hold grudges against anyone, my dear brothers and sisters.
Dost olun insanlara.
Be friends to other people, my dear brothers and sisters. Love other people.
İnsanlar için yaşayın.
Live for other people.
İnsanlar için yaşamak demek,
To live for other people means
mutlu etmeye yaşamak demek.
to live to make others happy.
Öyleyse sevgili kardeşlerim,
Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life, friends of my heart,
mutluluğu
happiness of other people is a purpose for each and every one of you.
kim başkalarını mutlu ettikçe
Whoever makes others happy
mutlu olduğunu hisseder de bunu
and
amaç
feels that he is happy himself and that becomes a purpose for that individual,
çok mutlu etmeyi.
then the individual will try to make everyone happier and happier.
İnsan için başka bir hedef yok.
For such an individual, there is no other purpose of life.
Herkesi mutlu etmek.
He lives to make everyone happy around him.
Etrafındaki insanlar
As the number of people around him increases, his level of happiness increases.
gayesi herkesi mutlu etmek.
His purpose is to make everyone happy.
Onun düşmanı yoktur.
It doesn't accept anyone as an enemy,
Her zaman
but others may consider him as an enemy to them, my dear brothers and sisters.
dostları Allah'ın dostlarını
Friends of Satan cannot tolerate the friends of Allah.
her zaman
Friends of Satan,
Allah'ın dostlarına karşı
they always consider friends of Allah to be enemies to them.
ama Allah'ın dostları
Yet, friends of Allah
düşman olmaz.
can never consider them as an enemy. That is never a possibility.
Dostluk deyince daimi zikir seviyesine ulaşan
When we say friendship,
Allah'ın
we are referring to those friends of Allah who are at the level of continuous zikr,
kendilerine düşmanlık yapıldığını bilseler de
even though they are being enemies to themselves,
olamazlar.
they cannot still consider those people as an enemy to themselves.
Kalplerine hiçbir zaman
Such a feeling can never take place in their hearts,
bunu gerçekleştirebilecek olan karanlık
because there is no such darkness that will cause such a thing in their hearts, my dear brothers and sisters.
o zaman bize düşman olanlar bilmeliler ki biz onlara düşman.
Therefore, those who consider me as an enemy to them, I cannot consider them as an enemy. That is not a possibility.
Yapabilirler.
They may make mistakes,
Çünkü kendi muktesebatları kadar hüküm vermek imkanının sahibi.
because they can only do things within their limits.
Güzellikler
Because the beautiful notions couldn't replace the vices yet.
nefste afetler bütünüyle durmaktadır.
Vices are still intact in their soul's hearts.
Afetler hüküm ferman.
If that is the case, then vices will be ruling for those people.
Bazı insanların Allah'ın dostlarına düşman olmaları tabii bir hüviyet.
Then it is only natural for certain people to consider friends of Allah to be their enemies.
Afetler varsa
If they have vices in their soul's heart,
tesir ediyorsa
if their vices are affecting them,
hep şeytanla temas eden
and since vices are always in touch with Satan,
şeytanın emirleri onların üzerinde
commands of Satan will be dominant upon such people.
ama nefsindeki afetleri
But for those people who got to continue zikr and eliminated every vice in their soul's heart, there are no enemies for them.
kalmamıştır. O kimseye düşman,
Such individual cannot consider anyone as an enemy.
onun düşmanlığı mümkün değildir.
He cannot be enemy to anyone.
Bilerek, isteyerek kim olursa olsun
He cannot
kendisi
harm anyone willfully.
buna
That is not a possibility.
kendisine kötülük edenler de her zaman
That includes those people who try to harm them as well.
kin tutmamak,
My dear brothers and sisters, not to hold grudges is a beautiful notion of Allah.
insanlar size yanlış davranabilirler.
Other people may do wrong things to you. They may be upset with you. They may even hate you.
Şeytan bütün gücüyle Allah'ın dostlarına
Within all his power,
çalışır.
Satan tries to make people to consider the friends of Allah to be enemies to them.
Hep bu istikamettedir.
That's why he works for on a daily basis.
Ama bunda ancak nefslerine afetlerin hakim olduğu insanları tuzağa düşürmek.
But Satan can only use those people who still have vices in their soul's hearts.
Onlar için bu mümkündür.
He can only manage to use them.
Allah'tan hoşlanıyorsa,
But whoever likes Allah,
Allah'ı severse,
loves Allah,
Allah'a aşık olursa,
falls in love with Allah,
hele Allah'a hayran
and
olursa,
even eventually admires Allah,
kişinin adım adım kalbindeki düşmanlıkları Allah Teala birer
Allah Ta'ala gradually eliminates every negative factor from their soul's heart.
Allah'a hayran olan kişi
Individual who admires Allah at the end
asla kim besleyemez.
can never hold grudges against others.
Kötü davranabilirler
Others may harm this individual,
onlara karşı.
but he can never do anything negative to them.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life, friends of my heart,
Allah Teala'nın dizaynı içinde
that is the design of Allah. And within such a design, what you all need to do is
yaşamaktır.
to go through that beautiful notion,
Yaşamaktır.
That is to live for Allah,
Allah için olmaktır.
to be for Allah.
Ve Allah Teala siz başka insanları sevdikçe,
And as you love other people, as your love increases towards other people,
daha çok sever.
Allah loves you even more.
Çünkü başka insanlara olan sevginizin artması,
Because for your love to increase towards other people is actually your love to increase towards Allah.
başkaları aydınlığa, başkalarına karşı olan sevginiz aydınlığa kavuşur.
Within the light of that, your love towards other people will grow.
Sevenlerdir.
Those who love Allah are the ones who love others.
Öyleyse sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
mutluluk varken
instead of having happiness,
Allah'ın bütün emirlerini yerine getirerek mutlu olmak,
being happy, fulfilling commands of Allah and living the life of this world in comfort and peace, why unhappiness?
huzursuzluk,
Why discomfort, unease?
neden başkalarını
Why, instead of making others happy,
mutlu edemez,
not being able to make them happy,
hatta onları
and even
mutsuz etmek,
making them unhappy?
nefsinizdeki afetleri ancak zikirle temizleyebilir.
You can only eliminate vices out of your soul's heart through zikr.
Nefsinizin afetlerini temizleyecek olan en büyük
Zikr is the greatest concept that can eliminate vices out of your soul's heart.
sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
dostlarım,
friends of my life, friends of my heart,
Allah'ı sevin.
love Allah,
Etrafınızdaki insanları sevin.
love people around you,
Herkesi sevin.
love everyone,
Sizi sevmeyenleri de sevin.
even love those who do not love you back,
Düşmanlık edenleri
even love those who are considering you as an enemy,
de
those who hate you.
onlara acıyın.
Just have pity for them
Bilmiyorlar.
because they do not know.
Allah'ın dostlarıysanız
If you are the friends of Allah,
o zaman insanları seveceksiniz.
then you have to love Allah.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
dostları insanların da dostlarıdır.
friends of Allah are the friends to all people.
Olamayanlar,
Those who cannot be friends to Allah,
onlar insanlarla da dost olamazlar.
they cannot be friends to anyone. Then their behaviors are ingenuine
Sahtedir.
and they cannot love.
Sevemezler. Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
vardır.
they are the rare people. You love them,
Ama onlardan beklemediğiniz davranışlar görürsünüz.
but you have behaviors from them that you never expect. At this point, people split into two.
Onları
Based on those behaviors, some people start not loving them,
nefret eder.
and at the end, they even hate them.
Diğer kısmı ise
The other half, on the other hand,
sevmeye devam eder.
they continue even those who harm them. They are always hopeful
Allah'ı tanıyacaklardır.
that one day they will get to know Allah as well,
Nasıl davranmaları gerektiğini, insanları mutlu ederek mutlu olmayı
and will know how to behave and how to make others happy.
kardeşlerim.
My dear brothers and sisters, your happiness
En büyük ölçüde başkalarını mutlu
is
etmekten geçer.
based on making other people happy.
Böyle bir imkan elinizdeyken
As you have such an opportunity, do that. Love other people.
sevdikçe onlar tarafından da sevildiğinizi göreceksiniz.
As you love, you will realize that you will be loved back.
az sevenleri mutlaka siz çok sevin.
You need to love so much those who love you a little bit.
Sizi sevmeyenleri de sevin.
Even love those who do not love you.
Bir kademe daha ilerleyelim.
Let's put one step further
Onları da sevin.
and even love those who consider you as an enemy to them.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
düşmanlık yapanlar da nefslerinin tesiriyle
those who do wrong things do these things due to the vices in their soul's heart, such as grudge and enmity. That's why they consider others as an enemy to them.
konuda onların dostluğunu kazanmak
In regards to that, to earn their friendship
gayretinize
is based on your efforts.
bağımlıdır. Gayretiniz hep en güzel istikamette olmalı.
Your efforts should be always in a positive way.
İnsanları sevmelisiniz.
You should love all people.
Eğer sizi sevmeyen birisi sizin tarafınızdan sevildiğini hissederse
If someone who doesn't love you feels that he is loved by you,
terakki edecektir.
then will consider that as a blessing.
Hemen mi? Hayır.
Right away? No.
Adım adım
But gradually,
düşmanlıklarına sizin mukabele etmeyişiniz,
for you not to retaliate his behavior,
bir cephe oluşturmak
for you not to try to harm him in return, will make that individual start thinking.
ve bir gün size şu veya bu şekilde ulaşırsa
And one day,
sizin ona
if he meets you again,
onun
for any reason,
olması,
for him to understand that you are still a friend to him,
kini
will also have the power to put off hatred
bir
and enmity and all negative things that that individual may have.
sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
kanun sevenler
the rule is that those who love are loved,
nefret edenlerden de
and those who hate
nefret edilir.
are hated. That is the rule.
Öyleyse siz bu nefreti sevgiye çevirebilirsiniz.
Then you can convert that hatred into love.
Sevginizi gösterdiğiniz zaman
When you show your love to the individual who hates you, doesn't matter what that individual does to you,
sizin onu sevmenize engel teşkil edemediğini
that none of that behavior is not going to stop you from loving that individual. And then that individual realizes that.
onun elindeki bütün düşmanlık imkanlarını
Then you're taking away all weapons of enmity that individual has.
düşman olamaz.
And that individual may not consider you as an enemy any longer.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
böyle bir şey için
for such a thing, you need to encounter other people. You need to talk to them.
davranışlarınızla ona ancak o zaman ispat edebilirsiniz.
Only then you can prove to that individual through your behavior.
İnsanlar arasında her kademe mevcut olduğunu göreceksiniz.
You will realize that there will be all kinds of things amongst people. Those who hate the most,
En çok öfkelenen,
those who
nefret eden,
get upset the most, from those people whose hearts are full of hatred,
bir sevgi
to the ones who loves the most, those people who have their hearts full of love.
bir uçta
On one end,
böyle bir şey
if you consider that as a sphere,
kuzey kutbunda
on the north end of the sphere are those who hate the most,
bir daire oluşacaksa
as they have their own circle.
da
On the south end are those who love the most.
dairenin sonucu ortaya çıkacaktır. Öyleyse biz insanlar sadece başkalarını mutlu ederek
Therefore, as human beings, we can only be happy making others happy.
bu kanunu hiç unutmayın.
Never forget that rule, my dear brothers and sisters.
Mutluluğun yolu
The way to happiness goes through making others happy.
etmekten geçer. İkinci bir patika,
There is no other way.
bir yol,
There is no other path.
ikinci bir geçit
There is no other straight.
mevcut değildir.
Doesn't exist.
Ayrıca imkansızdır.
On the other hand, it is impossible either.
Öyleyse başkalarının bizi sevmesini beklemeyeceğiz sevgili kardeşler.
Therefore, we shouldn't be waiting other people to love us, my dear brothers and sisters. We will love.
Biz sevdiğimizi ispat edeceğiz.
We will prove that we love.
Onlar bize kötülük yapsalar da
Even if they try to harm us,
edeceğiz.
we will continue loving them.
Bir gün hata yaptıklarını anlayacaklar.
One day they will understand that they are making a great mistake.
Büyük bir nedamet, büyük bir pişmanlık duyacaklar.
Then they will be so regretful
Kötülükler için.
for all the harm they caused.
İşte bu konuda Allah-u Teala'ya hep yalvarıyoruz.
Therefore, I always beg Allah
Bu nedamet hissi
for that
güzel,
regret and turning into good
erken olsun diye.
to be sooner as possible.
Bize kötülük edenler de bizim için bir dosttur.
Those who harm us are still friends to us.
Bizleri
For them to realize what they are doing is
koruyacak olan bir
something that will cleanse them in the presence of Allah.
değişiklik olmaz.
Yet there will be no change in our love towards them.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
Allah Teala bize sevmeyi öğretirken
as Allah taught me how to love,
bütünüyle kalbimizden
totally eliminated hatred from my heart as well.
Bizim için aynı şey söz
And that is exactly the case for everyone who gets to continue zikr.
kalamaz.
There cannot be any more vices in the soul's heart.
Daimi zikir, nefsin bütün afetlerinin
Continuous zikr
demektir.
means
Yerine ruhun
vices to be eliminated 100%
gitmesi demek.
and virtues to take over the soul's heart altogether.
Daimi zikrin
And that is the greatest value of continuous zikr for every individual.
başkaları onlara düşman olsalar bile
Even though others may consider them as an enemy,
düşman.
they can never consider anyone as an enemy to them.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
böyle bir pencereden her şey öylesine güzel.
from such a window, everything looks so wonderful.
Orhan Veli'nin bir şiiri var, bilmem
As
nasıl anlatsam,
Orhan Veli says,
size derdimi,
I wonder how to explain my
yürekler acısı.
wonders to you. It is a wonder that aches my heart.
Biz de bilmem ki
And I'm saying to you that I don't know how to explain to you
sevgi ki
my love.
dünya dolusu.
It is love full of world.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
çok ama
I love you all very, but very much.
kalbimiz hepinize açık.
My heart is open for each and every one of you.
Sevgi deryasının içinde sadece bulursunuz kendinizi.
You can only find yourself in that sea of love.
Bizden korkmayın.
Those who consider me as an enemy to them, don't be afraid of me.
Şikayet etmeyin.
I never complain of you to Allah.
Sizin kalbinizin temizlenmesi istikametinde Allah'a dua
I only pray to Allah for your hearts to be purified,
kalbinize afetleri yok ederek
as Allah to eliminate all vices out of soul's heart
aradan
and to replace them with glories. That's why I pray to Allah.
ve bütün dileğimiz bize düşman olanların da
And all my wish
olmasıdır.
is even those who consider me as an enemy to be happy.
Ama düşmanlık var olduğu sürece
But as long as there is enmity,
mutlulukta,
there cannot be happiness whatsoever.
çünkü düşmanlık bir afetler dizisidir.
Because enmity is a series of vices, and as long as there are vices,
Tam mutluluğa,
the individual cannot have true happiness whatsoever.
sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
o kadar çok seviyoruz ki
I love you all very much.
kardeşimiz olamadığını düşünenler sizleri de
Those who even think that not a brother or sister to me, I still love you all.
olması için Allah'a hep
I'm praying to Allah constantly for your happiness,
Allah Teala'nın hepinize
asking Allah Ta'ala to grant upon you infinite happiness, asking that from the Almighty. I finish the discourse at this point, inshallah. May Allah bless you all.
Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullahi ve Berekatuhu.